The Dallas Mavericks play basketball tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Happy Monday and happy game day. For the first time since April, we can say that the Mavericks are playing a basketball game. And yes, it is a preseason game. The preseason opener against the Oklahoma City Thunder at Dickies Arena out in Fort Worth. I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited to watch this team in action for the first time in the 25-26 NBA season. We're going to get to some things to watch and some major changes to watch out for here in the Mavericks preseason opener. But before we do that, hit that subscribe button because the season is finally here. Stay in the know with all things Dallas Mavericks right here on the channel at youtube.com/MavsTV. We'll have you covered with all of the latest injury news, rumors, analysis. We're going to do some live watch parties as well. This is the place to be for all things Dallas Mavericks coverage on YouTube. One more time, youtube.com/MavsTV. Go tell your friends to subscribe as well. We're going to get into some things to watch now here in the preseason opener tonight against Oklahoma City. Number one for me is the rookies, and it starts with the guy on the two-way contract out of Gonzaga, Mr. Ryan Nembhard. There's been some rumors and rumblings that Nembhard is going to play a decent amount for the Mavericks, especially in the first half of the season when Kyrie Irving is out and the Mavericks might be short a guard, maybe two, given the Dante Exum stuff, who hasn't even practiced yet, so we'll see what happens there. But I think they're going to be relying on Nembhard a decent amount, and Jason Kidd even said they experimented with a lineup of Nembhard basically running with the ones with Cooper Flagg and PJ Washington and Anthony Davis, among others. So I'm excited to see how Nembhard's development is coming along. And I know the Mavericks really like him because in the Summer League, Nembhard ended up only playing 3 of the 5 possible games. And they said after the third game, hey, we saw enough. We know what we have here. And they benched him for the final 2 games. Benched him in a good way, that is. So I'm excited to see if he can get up and running with this team, and maybe he can carve himself out a role here in the first half of the season. Miles Kelly, the other two-way guy out of Auburn, who I'm looking forward to watching as well. A sharpshooter, a guy who I think is probably a little bit more of an NBA body than Ryan Nembhard is. Nembhard plays a lot like his brother Andrew, but is a little smaller. I like Miles Kelly a lot out of Auburn, and look, I think he's going to get a lot of run in the G League, and they're going to do a lot of different things with him. He probably won't end up playing as much as Nembhard does just because his positional need isn't as there as much as Nembhard's is, but I do think that Kelly can be a developmental piece for the Mavericks over the next couple of seasons, and hopefully they can find something in him as a 3-and-D shooting guard / small forward who can really just kind of stay out on the perimeter and who can knock down open shots and who can guard smaller wings. Like, I think that's what you're looking for in Miles Kelly, but ultimately I do think he plays a lot of this year in the G League, but I'll be excited to see him play in these 4 preseason games, and I'm sure he'll get a decent amount of run from Jason Kidd. I'll ask you guys to open up today's show. This is our poll question here, so go vote on it. Who do you think is the better two-way contract right now? Now, the Mavericks do have an open two-way spot, but of the 2 guys currently under contract, who do you think it is? Miles Kelly or Nembhard? Type K for Kelly, N for Nembhard down in the comment section. And of course, I'm pumped to see Cooper Flagg, the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft. Look, we saw in Summer League the tantalizing potential that Flagg has, and I think we saw some flaws in his game as well, such as the inefficiency, not taking care of the ball super well. So I'm excited to see if he has, kind of not taken those flaws out of the game, but improved upon his game from Summer League into the preseason. Did he have a good training camp? Was he ready to go with this team? And is he able to get up to speed with the NBA game? Because look, even college there's a pace in college basketball. Then you take a step up to Summer League, which is a different pace. And now you're taking another step up to preseason, which is a different pace from Summer League in college. And then once you get into the regular season, the pace will really pick up. So can he just take in the overall speed of the NBA game and not let it look too rich for him? I'll be very, very closely watching Cooper Flagg, and we don't exactly know who is playing and who isn't for the Mavericks tonight, but I have to imagine that Flagg is going to get at least some run out there as the fans are coming to see Cooper Flagg in Dickies Arena in Fort Worth in the preseason. Hopefully Flagg can put on a nice show for the fans and give the Mavericks fans some confidence that he is going to be a really, really good rookie, and I think he is going to be, even if he struggles a bit in tonight's game. Number 2 thing to watch, Anthony Davis. Is he in shape? Is he able to run this offense? Is he going to be the guy that the Mavericks so desperately need him to be? I just got to see it. I got to see AD just being Anthony Davis in this first game. He came into training camp overweight. Overweight from where he was with the Los Angeles Lakers. He claimed that it wasn't a big deal. He always comes into camp overweight because he loses so much during the season. And he wants to ramp up his conditioning here. And once he ramps up his conditioning, he'll be at his ideal playing weight. Well, I want to see it. I want to see it here in Game 1 in Fort Worth. I want to see that Anthony Davis is ready to go this season. He's ready to stay healthy. And he's ready to run this offense, which, by the way, spoiler alert, is going to change a whole lot. And we'll talk about the offense here in just a moment. But, man, AD is going to be relied on even more than I originally thought. And it kind of frightens the hell out of me just because of the history with Anthony Davis. This is a guy who is one of the best players of the last 10 to 15 years. The unfortunate part about it is he just isn't on the court enough. And I know it's like beating a dead horse. I feel like every single time I'm doing a video regarding Anthony Davis, it's talking about his injury. But you can't separate the two. The injuries are a part of the Anthony Davis experience. I hope he can break that cycle, stay healthy this season, and be the AD that we saw for 2.5 quarters against the Houston Rockets. If we get that guy, you're getting a top 10 player in the NBA, and this Mavericks team is going to be really good. We're going to talk about those offensive changes here in just a second because it is big, spoiler alert. But before we do that, today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. You and I make decisions every single day, and on PrizePicks, those right decisions can get you paid. PrizePicks is now offering stacks, by the way, which is a super cool feature where you can put the same player, you can put 3 entries of the same player into one lineup. So for instance, if you want to take Cooper Flagg more on points, assists, and rebounds, you can put that in one lineup as well. With basketball season right around the corner and football season in full swing, get started with PrizePicks today that you can play in over 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and of course, Texas. I do have an entry for Monday Night Football tonight. Give me the more on Brian Thomas Jr. receiving yards at 56.5. And I'll take the less on Kareem Hunt rush attempts at 8.5. And less than Travis Kelce 41 receiving yards. The Taylor Swift album stunk, so I think Kelce is going to have an off night tonight. You can download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 in lineups. One more time, that's code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 in lineups. That link will be in the comments and description of today's show. PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. So this new look offense that we're going to have to talk about here, and this is kind of something that has been revealed over the last, I would say, like week or so, and kind of giving a hint as to how the Mavericks are really going to play. There was the report over the weekend that the Mavericks are envisioning using Anthony Davis in a Domantas Sabonis-like role here in this Mavericks offense. Well, if you know anything about what Domantas Sabonis does with the Sacramento Kings, he is basically the focal point of their offense as a big man, where he is catching the ball at the high post. He is doing a lot of dribble handoffs. The offense runs through him, and that's going to be different. Jason Kidd is completely revamping this system. This system used to be run through Luka Doncic, through Kyrie Irving, through the guard play that this team has. Now it's going to be completely reversed, where it's going to be run through the big man. It's going to be run through the 4, through Anthony Davis. And is that something that the Mavericks really are going to rely on all season? Well, I kind of think it is, because this team is going to be running basically what's called the Princeton offense. And I kind of have some notes on what the Princeton offense is. It's more or less a system where you just run it through the big man, essentially, where it emphasizes constant motion, backdoor cuts, and picks on and off the ball. And it was perfected at Princeton University, shout out Princeton Tigers, by their legendary coach Pete Carrill, but it can be traced back to the late 1930s. So it is an ancient offense, but it can be something that is very, very effective. And I do have some quotes on that as well, Lopez, that we can get to here, where the Princeton offense basically is just something that I think the Mavericks are trying to maximize their personnel and their roster throughout because their roster has completely changed. So this is from the Coaches Clipboard on exactly what the Princeton offense is. It's a more deliberate offense, oftentimes with many passes on each possession. It tends to slow the game down, controlling the tempo, usually resulting in lower game scores. Coaches have to be completely committed to this offense as it is a freelance offense with less control from the bench. However, plays and quick hitters can be called. The Princeton offense can be used against man-to-man and zone defenses, against zones that pack the paint. Open three-point shots, attacking the gaps in the zone, and attacking the baseline are effective techniques. And the hallmarks of the Princeton offense are the spread offense and spacing, constant motion, backdoor cut and layup, hitting three-pointers, flare screens, and basic screens away from the ball. The set can be a 2-3 high set, a 4-out with 1, and either in the high post or low post, or a 1-2-2 5-out set. And where I think the Mavericks are going to go is it's really going to be a 4-out with Anthony Davis next to the 1, D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Williams, whoever it is, at the top of the key. And that's just how they're going to play off of. Like, maybe it starts with D'Angelo Russell throwing Anthony Davis the ball, and then Davis will give a dribble handoff back to Russell after he comes around him, and then that kind of will open up the offense, and then they'll just go play hoops from there. It's going to rely on extremely high-level IQ basketball players from this team, which Anthony Davis absolutely is, and I think Klay Thompson is as well. Cooper Flagg is a very smart basketball mind, even though he's very young. So this team is going to rely a lot on its players, and I think it's going to rely a little less on maybe the coaching, and they're going to play a little more freelance and a little more free-flowing offense, so to speak, which will be very interesting to see if it actually works. And if the Mavs do end up slowing the pace down and they end up being one of the slower teams in the league, like, I do think that's how they're going to have to win games in more lower-scoring affairs. Like, are the Mavs going to hold teams to under 100 points every night? No, that's just not realistic in the NBA. But can they play games under 110? I do think that's where the Mavericks want to live, in like the 107 to 108 point range per game, and they want to hold teams to about 103 to 104 points per game. They're turning back the clock with this offense. They're trying to be a mid to late 2000s team who has a really good four-man. They play two bigs, and they're just a staunch defensive squad, and we'll see if it ends up working. Like, it's the philosophy they've chosen, and now they just have to fully lean into it and fully embrace it. But one thing I do know is this. It all rides on Anthony Davis. This guy right here. It all rides on AD if he's able to make this thing work or not. They're putting all of their eggs into the AD basket, which they have no choice to do, so I don't blame them. But you better hope that he is, number one, able to run this offense effectively. Number two, he stays healthy enough to run this offense. And number three, when he's not on the court, they have a replacement in that spot who is able to do the things that Anthony Davis can do. Is that Cooper Flagg? Is that PJ Washington? Is that Najee Marshall? I think the Mavs have some options there. So I'm very intrigued to see how Jason Kidd implements this new style of offense and new style of play with this team. It is a major change to what we know as the Mavericks offense, ISO-heavy basketball, and we'll see how it turns out. And it starts tonight here in the preseason against the Oklahoma City Thunder, which leads me to my final question of the night. What are you most excited to see in tonight's game? Is it Cooper Flagg? Is it Anthony Davis? Is it, whatever it is? Is it Jason Kidd's coaching style? Name it down there in the comment section. And just some final thoughts on here. I'm just very excited that this team is playing basketball. There is no fan base in the NBA that needs basketball games to be played more than the Dallas Mavericks. We can just forget all of the off-season hoopla and all of the off-the-court drama that surrounds this team, and boy, is there a lot of it. And we can actually start talking about actual basketball being played. I can't wait for the season. First of 4 preseason games tonight. Opening night is just a couple of weeks away, and hopefully this Mavs team will be pretty damn good under the direction of Jason Kidd and Anthony Davis. That will do it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Go give me a follow on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27, where you'll find out about Mavericks news before you find out here on the channel. But please, again, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we will have you covered all throughout the 25-26 NBA season right here. Can't wait. Come along for the ride. It's going to be interesting.